Alright, hello people, I'm the dude and this is Let's Play the Unholy War. This is going to be a little interim video where I just show off the different units real quick. Hopefully I won't have to explain as much if I just show them all off in one video. Should make things easier. Or at the very least, you should have a better grasp of what the hell's going on. Yeah, that'll work. Except team. This is Mayhem mode. You pick your team, you pick your map, and you just fight, basically. I'm going to use it just to show off the units. I'm not going to actually fight. Okay, so I guess we're starting with the Technos units. Quicksilver. Quicksilver is the best Technos unit. It's not even close. I think I already said that in the first video, but it's not even close. She is by far the best. By far and away. I think the only... I'm trying to think of a bad matchup for her, honestly. I think the only arcane that comes to mind that actually dominates her is the Piranha Devil. The other 6 are either even with her, or she just destroys them. She just annihilates them. Like Ekton, it's extremely hard to win against Quicksilver with Ekton. Same for the Fire Witch. I don't even think you can win with the Fire Witch against her. If you try to shoot her with projectiles, she'll bounce them back. If you try to dive bomb her, she'll put up her shield and take no damage and then whack you in the face with her sword arms. There's just not much you can do. But yeah, for the most part, she's just amazing. Quicksilver is extremely good. Her slice is a melee attack. Her orbs are a ranged attack. And the shield blocks all damage while it's up, but it drains her energy when she's using it, so she can't keep it up all the time. If she spams it a lot, she'll run out of energy, and you'll have basically moments of opportunity where you can actually damage her. But overall, she's extremely strong. Let's see. I don't think I'm gonna go into. I'll go into the map powers. Why not? Madness. It says it does exactly what it says down there. You target someone, you use it on them, and they just kind of wander around for a bit. It makes them useless, basically. Tesla. Tesla's probably my second or third favorite Technos unit. He's somewhere in the middle of the pack as far as power goes. He's got some good matchups, some really bad ones, but overall, he's fun to use, is why I like him. Zap is a very fast-moving projectile, a lot like the Moglin's nuke, and it crosses a long distance. Teleport basically saves his ass. You press the button, you disappear from wherever you are, and you reappear somewhere else, randomly. So basically, it's an escape. And his crystal is a turret, which is why I like him so much. You can set up 3 of them around the map, and they'll just constantly throw out lightning bolts at the enemy. His map power is very, very useful. It's the same as Angel's. It lets you teleport. This one teleports only Tesla, whereas Angel's teleports one of his allies. So technically, Angel's is better, but they're both really good. Let's see, can I just go? Yeah, we'll just do it this way. Kill Cycle. Kill Cycle is basically there for Kamikaze. That's pretty much it. On the maps, he has a lot of movement. He's one of the few that gets 3 movement. But mostly he's just there in battle for Kamikaze. His Plasma Bolt requires him to be on the ground to get energy to use it. So you'll get a few off at the start of the fight, and then they'll just chase you around, which basically makes you screwed. Same for his bombs. His bombs are amazingly easy to dodge. And Kamikaze, he can use Kamikaze without energy, and it does tons of damage. So basically that's what he's there for. His map power, it's basically just a map version of Kamikaze. He does a lot of damage in an area. Overall, he's really useful, mainly for his Kamikaze. Jaeger. Jaeger is the Technos big, brutish, tough unit. He has a lot of health, takes a long time to die. His punch does a lot of melee damage. His lasers do a lot of short-range damage, longer than his punch, but still short range. They're rapid fire. And his rockets are heat-seeking. You shoot them, they follow the enemy around, and usually, if the enemy's fast, you're not going to hit them with the rockets, but if they're slow, like let's say Piranha Devil, they're not going to be able to dodge them. So the rockets kind of hit or miss. If the unit's slow, it's going to hit them. If not, it's kind of useless. His map power is a nuke. It's just a really long-range single target attack. Just does damage. Fairly handy. Mantis. Mantis is probably my favorite Technos unit because he is extremely fun to use. His mandibles are a kind of a mid-range melee attack. It's the longest melee attack in the game. he shoots out his tongue, basically, and it's got claws on it, and it grabs them. Blood bots are these little flying insect things that he fires that follow the enemy around. If they hit the enemy, they do damage, and then they bring health back to Mantis. So they're like little vampire bats, basically. And then his signature move is Gravity Well. He places it on the ground, and if the enemy's within range of it, it kind of sucks them towards it. The closer they are to it, the more it sucks them in. If they're in the center of it and they don't move quickly enough, they'll be stuck there. They won't be able to move. If they move quickly, like let's say the Wasp, then they'll be able to get out of it, but they'll be slowed down passing through it. And his map power is actually one of the best in the game. Basically what it does is it gives you 100% of your max life and energy, like it says, which basically buffs up Mantis and makes him 50% stronger. But it kills him in 3 turns, so you have to use him within those 3 turns. Before those 3 turns, he's a monster. And it's not just him, you can do it to other allies too. Like if you, let's say you buff a Jaeger, his already ridiculous health gets even more ridiculous. His already ridiculous energy gets even more ridiculous, and he's just crazy tough. So, yeah, one of the best map powers. Razorfan. Razorfan has ranged buzzsaws, which are some of the fastest firing ranged attacks in the game. It might be the fastest firing, I don't know. It's got good distance, does good damage, not much else to say. His melee attack is unique in that it's not a melee attack and then it ends. You can hold the button down, and it's a constant melee attack. So if you get near them, you can hit them with it and bounce them in the air and hold the button down and basically kill them before they can do anything. But it's fairly random whether or not it does that or if it just knocks them back. Still, it's a really good melee attack. And then Blade Wall blocks off a little chunk of the map. If they walk into it, they take damage. His map power is the exact same as Blade Wall. It blocks off a part of the map. Overall, he's decent. He's not great. He's kind of middle of the road. Wasp. Wasp is the strongest Technos unit. I'd say her and Mantis are my 2 favorites. I like using Mantis more, but Wasp is just unstoppable as far as how good she is. The computer doesn't do her justice. You have to actually play her yourself to realize how amazing she is. She can outrun anything in the entire game. She's the fastest unit. She's got a ranged attack that's spammable. You can just hold the button down, get in range, hold the button down, fly around the enemy, and they just constantly take damage. Her other 2 abilities, Cryo Beam and Life Drain, when combined together, give you a way to freeze an enemy and then steal their health at the same time. So, yeah. There's basically nothing not to like about Wasp. To make things even better, she has probably the 2nd best Technos map ability, which heals. It heals other units, so you don't have to scrap them, basically. So she's extremely hard to kill, extremely fast, has almost no bad matchups, has a really good map ability. She's just really, really good overall. And we're on to the Arcane. Ecton has a whip attack that slows the enemy. It's a ranged attack. It doesn't fire fast like most ranged attacks, which is a pain. It makes it really easy to dodge. But once you hit them with it, it slows them down, which makes them easier to hit, if that makes sense. You can lay traps on the ground, but they're really easy to dodge. If you jump over them, they don't activate. They only trap this tiny little area on the ground, so the guy has to walk literally right on top of them. But if you can get them in the trap, you can whale them and steal their health. His map power, he devours health. He steals a huge chunk of health and gives it to himself. It's one of the better map powers for Arcane. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's one of the better ones. Piranha Devil. I love the Piranha Devil. He's probably the worst unit overall in the entire game. But he has this nice little niche in that the strongest Technos unit, he just completely destroys her. He takes Quicksilver, bends her over, and just rapes her. That's basically his one niche. He also beats Wasp really easily, but pretty much every other matchup except for those 2, he loses horribly. So, he has a niche, and he's fun to use, but he's not very strong overall. He's not a great general pick. They have to have a Quicksilver or a Wasp for me to ever use a Piranha Devil. His Spit is a really short-range nuke, kind of like the Wasp's attack, short-range nuke that you can hold down and spam. His Bite is his signature attack. If you can get in range, which he's really slow, so it's not easy to do, but if you can get in range and use the Bite, he'll leap onto them, and they'll have to jam the button to knock you off. While you're on top of them, you basically leech health off them. But yeah, it's his best move. It's what lets him kill Quicksilver and Wasp. And then egg is just crap. It's garbage. It summons this little, they say chicken baby. Piranha chicken baby, but whatever. All it is it's this little version of the Piranha Devil. It walks around and dies in one hit. And it moves really slowly. And it has no special attacks. So basically it's just useless. Completely. His map power lets him create more Piranha Devils. It costs AUR to use his map power, but it's a very, very cheap cost. It's only 10. So it's a lot cheaper to use this than to buy another Piranha Devil, which costs, I think it's like 40 or something like that. Plus, when you use this map power, you have a chance of getting multiple Piranha Devils. I've seen 3 at once before. You use it once and get 3 extra Piranha Devils. But it's random. Sometimes you get nothing. So, it's a gamble. Magus Lizard! Magus Lizard is my favorite arcane unit. He's a beast. He's a monster. His sword attack's just a generic melee attack. It does a lot of damage. His Raven is a heat-seeking bird that looks really cool. And you can just spam it and it'll follow the enemy around. Starfall is... it's exactly what it says. Rain of Doom, basically. You turn it on. As long as you don't get hit while you're casting it, it just rains meteors on the guy's head until it times out. Starfall, it's just a ranged nuke. It's exactly like Jaeger's map power. They're identical. Brontu! Brontu is the big bastard for Arcane. He has a lot of health, takes a lot of damage. His Roar is a short-ranged attack, but it does a lot of damage. It's a really short range, so it's kind of hard to hit with. But if you hit someone with it, like a Wasp, it's going to do like half of her health in one hit. Charge is his signature attack. You hold the button down, and it makes him run really fast. While you're holding the button down and while you're running fast, if you ram into the enemy, it'll bounce them into the air and do a ton of damage. A lot of enemies are grounded, they can't fly, and a lot of enemies don't move very quickly, which makes Charge just amazing for them. Charge basically gives Brontu all of his positive matchups. And then Gas, it's just his Poison Cloud. It doesn't do a lot of damage unless they stay in it. If they just bump into it or if they just move straight through it, they're not going to take much damage. So it's kind of weak overall. His map power is probably the crappiest in the entire game. It knocks an enemy back 1 space. It doesn't do any damage. You can't knock them into any hazards on the map, so there's really not much point, honestly. It's pretty much garbage. You'll never see me use it. Fire Witch. Fire Witch is unique in that she can not only fly, but she can also regenerate energy in the air. Every other flying unit in the game has to land to get their energy back. She doesn't. Napalm is just a ranged attack. She can do it while she's flying around. Her signature attack is her Slam. She basically dives straight down from wherever she is at the moment and slams into the ground, doing a lot of damage. The best way to use it, I've found, is to be close to the ground. Otherwise, if you're high up, it's really easy to dodge. But if you're close to the ground, like let's say three of her height lengths off the ground, and then you bomb, it's almost guaranteed to hit, as long as the unit's not really fast. And it does good damage. Leaves her vulnerable after she uses it, though. She has to sit there and gather herself, basically, before she can move again. Firewall is a lot like Blade Wall for Razor Fan. It just blocks off an area. If they try to move through it, they take damage. And the map power is the same thing as Razor Fan's Blade Wall. Map power just blocks off an area. They're more or less the same as far as their walls go. Dark Angel. Dark Angel is probably the second strongest for the Arcane. He has a couple of matchups that aren't great for him, but he doesn't have any really terrible matchups. And a lot of his matchups he just dominates. He just destroys them. Eye beams, it's just eye lasers. You hold the button down, he shoots out eye lasers at them, and it does damage. Shockwave is probably his best attack. It does a ton of damage in an area around him. You don't really have to aim it well, you just have to be near them and press the button, and they usually take damage. A lot of damage. And then Obelisk, it makes this little tower that does the opposite of Tesla's. It heals instead of nukes. You can only have one of them. So basically you have to be standing right on top of it, and you have to be standing still, otherwise the beam won't hit you. So it's very limited in its usefulness. Sometimes I'll put it on the ground when I'm fighting short-range enemies, and then I'll fly above it where they can't hit me, and then it'll shoot healing up to me. But other than that, there's just not a lot of use for it. Transport, it's a lot like Tesla's move, except that instead of teleporting himself, he teleports an ally. Actually, he can teleport himself too. So it's just pretty much better in every way than Tesla's. Tesla's can only teleport himself. And Tesla only has one movement. Which means when you try to get him around the map, it takes forever. So, Moglin Rider. Moglin Rider is... she's interesting. She has a lot of really bad matchups, and she has a lot of really good ones. She doesn't have very many in the middle. She tends to either dominate the enemy or just die horribly. But her Sparkler is a ranged attack. It fires really, really fast across the map, which makes it hard to dodge. Her Tongue is a melee attack, kind of like Mantis's. It's a medium range attack, even though it's melee. It goes out in front of her. And Exchange switches your positions, which it's very situational. It'll let you dodge rockets from Jaeger. And depending on where the enemy is on the map, if they're like up on top of a wall, you can switch with them and you'll be in the advantageous position. But for the most part, it's just extremely situational. Cure. Cure is a heal just like the Wasp's heal, basically. They're pretty much the same thing. And that's it. We're back around. I think I'll go over the matchups really quick. I don't know. I can probably do that in the video. No, I'll go over them quickly. Moglin kicks the crap out of Wasp, Kill Cycle, Razor, Jaeger, Mantis. She beats pretty much all those fairly handily. Tesla will rape her for the most part, and Quicksilver will definitely rape her. There's just not much chance to win that matchup. She has a lot of really good matchups and a couple of really bad ones. Dark Angel. Dark Angel will beat Razor Fan, Jaeger, and Kill Cycle almost every time. We're talking like 99% of the time. Tesla he'll beat most of the time. Mantis he'll beat most of the time. Wasp can catch him in that freezing attack, and if he does, he's just screwed. So that matchup's probably leaning towards Wasp, depending on how well the computer plays her. And he never wins against Quicksilver for the most part. Or at the very least, it's really, really difficult. Fire Witch. Fire Witch only really has one good matchup, and that's Wasp. It's hard for Wasp to beat her, but not impossible. She has a slight advantage. She has a slight advantage against Jaeger, Mantis, and Tesla, but all of those, if played well, can beat her. She's more or less even with Kill Cycle because of his Kamikaze. And she loses to Quicksilver and Razor Fan almost all the time. So Fire Witch is one of the weaker units in the game, in my opinion. She has a niche in that you can fly around and attack infinitely in the air, but her projectiles are really slow, really hard to aim when you're flying, and she's just really frail, basically. Brawn 2. Brawn 2 has a very interesting niche because of his charge. He's going to beat Tesla every single time. You're going to charge, he'll teleport, and before you can get enough mana to teleport again, you'll charge again and just kill him in 2 hits. It's a really quick, really easy fight. Other than that, he wins against Jaeger probably 90% of the time. That fight's really easy because of charge. Wasp is kind of random. If she uses her freeze well, which the computer usually doesn't, she can beat Brawn 2. If she doesn't, you're going to beat her every time. Kill Cycle will never win against Brawn 2. You're going to destroy him every single time if you play him well. Quicksilver's more or less even against Brawn 2. Her melee attack is really, really strong. She's really fast, and she can jump around a lot, dodging your charge. So if you can't land the charges on her, which it's much harder than you'd think because of how high she jumps and how fast she is, and she gets around behind you and does those melee attacks, she's very likely to win the fight. But it's even. You have a chance. Razor Fan, again, it's fairly even. It's probably a slight advantage to Brawn 2. Razor Fan has a really hard-hitting melee attack, and he can set up blade walls to block your charges, so it's more or less even. You still have a chance to win. And Mantis is probably a slight advantage to Brawn 2. He can catch you in his black hole, whatever the hell it's called, the thing that sucks you in, and when he does that, he can basically chain melee attack you while you're stuck, and you have to use charge to get out repeatedly, which sucks up your energy. But if he abuses the black hole, it's a slight advantage to Mantis. If he doesn't, you're going to destroy him. Magus Lizard. Magus Lizard is my favorite. He beats the crap out of Mantis. It's not even close. Beats the crap out of Razor Fan. Although, Razor Fan has surprised me lately. I mean, I remember beating him most of the time, but it seems like he's getting really good at blocking the birds. Destroying the birds before they hit him. He'll probably destroy or block maybe 90% of them. 1 in 10 will actually hit him. And his buzzsaws or whatever move so fast across the screen, they're fairly difficult to dodge. So I don't think I had this right. I think it's more or less even between the two. Between Magus and Razor. I used to think that Magus just destroys him, but my opinion has been changed. Wasp, Magus should win every single time. Jaeger, Magus should win every single time. Kill Cycle, Magus should win every single time. He'll probably take some damage because of Kamikaze. It's hard to stop Kamikaze with Magus. But he should still win every single time. Tesla is more of an even match. If Tesla plays well and uses his teleport well, uses his fast-firing ranged attack well, it's an even fight. Magus should probably, if played well, win most of the fights, but he's going to take a lot of damage from it. And then Quicksilver is really hard for Magus. She's really fast. She can block the birds. Actually, she can reflect the birds. So the birds heat-seek in on you, which is even worse. Her melee attack hits just as hard as Magus's does, so that's probably the weakest for Magus. The weakest fight, Quicksilver. Piranha Devil. Piranha Devil only really beats Quicksilver and Wasp. Like I said earlier, that's his niche. Everything else, and I mean everything else on the Technos team, is going to kick the crap out of him. That's just the way it is. He has a chance, a small chance to beat Kill Cycle if he can get his leap in, but it's really hard because Kill Cycle's really fast and Piranha Devil's really slow. So, yeah, pretty much he's there for Wasp and Quicksilver, and that's it. Ekton. Ekton has a special place in my heart because I love his slow attack. I love it. It is amazing for certain enemies. He's going to beat Mantis every single time. He's going to beat Jaeger every single time. He's going to beat Razorfan 99% of the time, all because of his slow attack. Those three are completely raped by his slow attack. Wasp, he should beat, let's say 90% of the time. 9 out of 10 times he should beat Wasp. Kill Cycle is more or less even. You're going to damage him a lot, and if you let him get his Kamikaze off, you're just going to die from it. Ekton doesn't have the health or the speed to dodge it, or take the hit. What else? Tesla and Quicksilver are Ekton's worst matchups. Quicksilver is just going to dominate him. She can reflect his slow attack and slow him down. Then she's even more faster than he is, which she's already fast as fuck. Her melee attack tears him apart. Her ranged attack is really, really fast across the screen. She's just going to destroy him. And then Tesla, he can dodge with teleport. His ranged attack is faster than yours. He can set up his stupid towers, and you're so slow that you can't dodge them easily. Those two matchups are just really hard for Ekton. Okay, for the Technos. Wasp beats everyone. That's not a joke. I'm not exaggerating. If I'm playing Wasp, I beat everything. Nothing beats Wasp. There are a couple of tough matchups in that Ekton is tough because you have to nail your cryo beam and it's a very small area that it hits. If you get good at it and you nail Ekton after he uses his slow attack, dodge it, and then nail him with it, he's instantly dead. He won't live the life drain. He'll just instantly die. So that's a tough matchup, but if you get good at it, you'll win every time. Damn near every other matchup is more or less guaranteed, except for... I can't even think of one that's even remotely tough other than Ekton. I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't think any other matchup is bad for her when I'm playing her. Honestly, she's just that good. I mean, she's so fast. She's damn near impossible to hit. She's got her skills work really well together as a cohesive, you know, attack. Blaster kills everything that's slow moving, and Cryo Beam combined with Life Drain kills everything else. So yeah, she's just really good. Razorfan, when I'm playing him, is about as good as when the computer's playing him, honestly. He's just kind of middle of the road. He's just not great. There's certain matchups where using his melee attack is preferable and the computer just doesn't do it often enough. Like, let's say you're against Magus. You're better off using your melee attack, just running at him and melee attacking constantly. Or if you're against, let's say, I don't even know, like Angel, wait for him to run out of mana and then run under him, and when he tries to land, spam the melee attack. For the most part, he's going to beat Piranha Devil 90% of the time. You have to get really unlucky to lose that fight. He's going to beat Ecton when I'm playing him, probably 50-50. It depends on if I can dodge those initial slow attacks. If I can't, I'm just screwed. That's all there is to it. The computer plays Fire Witch, sadly, way better than I do. And she has about a 50-50 rate against my Razor Fan because she aims her dive attacks so well, infinitely better than I do. So that's another 50-50 matchup. It could go either way, basically. The Moglin, Razor Fan should beat her the majority of the time. Brontu, Razor Fan's going to lose to every single time. His charge attack's just going to massacre. Angel, just run him out of energy and, like I said, stay below him, basically. It's not a hard fight. Razor Fan should win it the majority of the time. Magus, again, like I said earlier, you want to use your melee attack, but even then, Magus has more base health, and if you get in a melee war with him, he's probably going to win. So it's another unfavorable matchup. Let's see. Mantis. I love playing Mantis, but he's very hit or miss. He loses to a lot of matchups that most people don't, if that makes sense. Like, Fire Witch is going to decimate him pretty much every single time. It makes it even worse that the computer aims her dive attack so well, but she's just going to destroy him, basically. Brontu is going to tear him apart. The computer Brontu aims its charges amazingly well, so it's more or less impossible to dodge. You have to hope that he gets caught in your, what is it called, grav well, and even then they usually just charge straight through it on Brontu. So those are two really bad matchups. Angel, you're probably going to lose because you just don't have the range to fight him, and you don't have the speed to chase him down. Magus is actually a decent fight. It's probably 50-50. It could go either way. It's really hard to dodge his birds, but it's also really hard for him to dodge the blood bots. And if you get in melee range, you both do the same amount of damage, but you have a slight range advantage because yours is a medium range attack. So in melee range, you have the advantage, but he's faster, so he's usually not going to get into melee range for the most part. So, yeah, it's probably about a 50-50. It's about, you know, somewhere in the middle. Maybe not 50-50. Maybe a slight advantage to Mantis. Piranha Devil, you should never lose to Piranha Devil's Mantis. It's a guaranteed win. Moglin should dominate Mantis every single time, but the computer just doesn't play her well a lot of the time. It likes to spam her switcheroo, and once you get used to the computer spamming it, wasting its energy on it, you can take him out pretty easily. Let's see. Jaeger, he's going to beat Piranha every single time. Piranha might get a grab in, but the minute his grab ends, just melee attack once and he's going to die. That's pretty much it. You're going to take a little bit of damage if he gets the grab in, but one melee attack, and if that doesn't kill him, the spammed lasers are going to kill him pretty much instantly. You should always lose to Ecton. Always. You can't outrun his slow attack, and he's just going to spam it and kill you. Fire Witch you should never lose to. She's going to use her dive bomb attack, and you're going to take damage, but then you just walk back in and melee her a couple times, and she's going to die almost instantly. A lot like Piranha Devil. Moglin is extremely hard to kill with Jaeger because she can outrun your rockets. She's just fast enough to outrun them, and you can't get in range to do anything else. So you should lose against Moglin the majority of the time. Brontu is going to kill Jaeger almost every time. All you're going to want to do in that fight is just do as much damage as you can. You're probably going to get maybe a couple of hits in, and he's going to kill you with charges. Angel is a really easy fight for Jaeger. Spam rockets. Chase him down, that's pretty much it. Magus is another easy fight for Jaeger. When I play against Jaeger as Magus, I run around a lot, spam birds, outrun him, but their speeds aren't really that different, and when I'm playing Jaeger, it's very easy to cut off the enemy, the NPC, the computer, and just get in range to melee him down. So, yeah, Jaeger should beat Magus the majority of the time. Kill cycle. Kill cycle is much like Piranha Devil in that he doesn't have a lot of good matchups. He should never lose to Piranha Devil. He should always lose to Ecton. He should usually lose to Fire Witch because she's gonna chase him around in the air, She regenerates energy in the air. Kill Cycle doesn't, so it's just a no-win scenario. If you run into Fire Witch or Ecton, your best bet is to just do a little bit of damage with your initial energy and then Kamikaze immediately afterwards. Brontu. Brontu is actually, ironically enough, a very easy fight when I'm playing Kill Cycle because you can use his charge to your advantage. He's going to charge around under you, waste his energy, and then when he runs out, you fly to the other side of the map, get some energy back, and then spam plasma at him. It works out really well. Angel, you should never win against Angel as Kill Cycle. I mean, maybe 5% of the time if you get really lucky. Magus, again, you should never win as Kill Cycle against Magus. It's really hard to dodge the birds and get energy back at the same time, and Kill Cycle has to basically run away from the enemy, find a place of ground to get energy, and when he does that, Magus is going to use Starfall on you. So, really tough matchup. For the most part, Kill Cycle just doesn't win much. He's like Piranha Devil, he has a niche. Tesla. Tesla is very fun to use, and he has a lot of really interesting matchups. Piranha Devil should never beat Tesla, ever, for any reason. Ecton should always beat Tesla, but if you're good with teleport and you're good with dodging, you can win that matchup. You can turn it into about a 50-50 matchup, especially if you get your towers up before he slows you. Then you can turn it into your advantage. But it's an interesting matchup, and that it's kind of situational. You have to do certain things to be able to win the matchup, which Ecton won't always let you do. If he hits you with his slow, he's just going to spam nuke you and you're going to die. Fire Witch versus Tesla is a basically 100% win matchup. She's going to spam her fire attacks, you set up turrets and dodge her fire attacks. She's going to come in for her dive bomb, and the minute she tries it, teleport out of the way. And your towers are going to damage her while she's on the ground. You can nuke her while she's on the ground. Basically, you should never win that matchup for any reason. Moglin. Moglin is interesting, kind of like Ecton, in that you shouldn't win that matchup, but if you get your setup, if you get your towers up and you dodge well, you can turn it into a 50-50 fight, basically. Brontu, you should never win. Brontu should literally always beat Tesla. You can't outrun his charge. Your teleport takes too much energy to spam. So basically you're going to dodge one charge and then just get destroyed. Angel. Angel is a decent matchup. I'd give the matchup favorable odds for Angel winning, just because he hits harder and it's easier for him to chase. If you can get your setup going, if you can get your towers up and hide inside of them, Angel won't be able to come in close without taking a lot of damage, but that's really hard to do. Usually he's going to fly in near you and spam lasers and do a lot of damage. And it's hard to teleport away from him because teleport takes so much energy and he's decently fast. Plus he can fly. Terrain won't block him at all. Magus. Magus is actually the opposite when I'm playing Tesla. When I'm playing Magus, the advantage is to Magus. When I'm playing Tesla, the advantage is to Tesla because I dodge infinitely better than the computer. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, dodge the birds, stay out of range, don't let him come in melee range. If he gets that close, teleport. He's fairly slow, so you can abuse teleport pretty easily. And just nuke him from range and to set up your towers. Quicksilver. Quicksilver, when played by the computer, is the best Technos unit, by far. When played by me, on the other hand, she's probably above average. I'm not great at using her shield, because I don't have the reflexes of the computer. I mean, I have to hold the shield down to block stuff for the most of the time, and that drains her energy like crazy, whereas the computer can just tap it and block it perfectly. So, yeah, I'm a lot worse with Quicksilver than the computer is. As far as her matchups, she should always beat Piranha Devil. It's the opposite. When I'm playing Piranha Devil, I'll always beat Quicksilver, but when I'm playing Quicksilver, I'll always beat Piranha Devil. The computer just doesn't use him well enough. Ecton, you should always beat him. Reflect, just use your shield a lot till one of his shots reflects back and slows him, and then just run up and melee him. Or hell, just run up and melee him anyways. Just try not to get slowed. Fire Witch, you should never lose. The shield blocks her dive attack, blocks her ranged attack. You should win every single time. Moglin. Moglin is interesting in that you're faster than her, but if she abuses if she abuses switcheroo to her advantage, let me rephrase, if you let her abuse it, then you'll lose the matchup. Don't let her abuse switcheroo. You see it coming, wait for it, and when she uses it, instantly turn around and go after her, and you'll kill her almost instantly. If you let her abuse it and confuse you, it's going to make the fight extremely difficult. If that makes sense. Brontu, you should never win to Brontu. Win against Brontu as Quicksilver. You can do a lot of damage to him because her melee attack hits so hard, but you should always lose. His charge is just better than your moveset, basically, and you don't have as much health as he does. He has like 40, 50 more health, something like that. Angel, you should never lose. You should always beat Angel. Your shield just dominates him. Your speed dominates him. He should never win. Magus, same thing. You should never, ever lose to Magus as Quicksilver. Your shield is going to reflect his birds back at him. If he gets into melee range, your melee hits harder than his. He's got more health, so you have to be careful. But you should still come out on top. Or at the very least, it should be a very even fight if you get into melee. If you spam your orbs and your shield, you should never lose, basically. And that's it for the matchups. Hopefully that'll answer some questions about what the different units are, how they work, how the matchups work, that kind of thing. I'll probably still go over them in the videos as well, just to, you know, refresh your memory type thing, but this is one consolidated video for all the different units.